Hi guys, welcome to Sniper Photography. My name's Glenn Samuel. Look, I've been rather fortunate to be given a lens via Canon to test and put it through its paces. This is the 10 to 18 millimeter wide angle zoom for APS-C cameras for Canon. It's 4.5 to 5.6 IS internal stabilization this lens has, and it has a stepping motor which I'm led to believe is very good on this particular lens. Now, the first thing I notice about this lens is how light it is. Seriously, it's lighter than a box of tissues. As I said, it's 10 at its widest focal point and 18 in the zoom range. It's 4.5 at 10 millimeter. Excuse the birds, I am in a sort of like a national park here. At 10 millimeter, it's 4.5, but as soon as you move it towards the 18 mil, it goes straight to 5.6. So in essence, this lens may not be suitable for low light situations. But having said that, at 10 millimeter on an APS crop censored body, you're going to get 16 mil. That's pretty wide. It has autofocus, manual focus buttons. It has stabilization on and off. It has this focusing ring for manual focusing. But that is the lens there. It's very small, and they've given me a lens hood to go with it. Now this lens retails for about $380, but Canon charge you an extra $37 for a lens hood. Now lens hoods are excellent for lots of reasons, and on this particular lens, this lens hood suits this lens as a wide angle lens, so there'll be no flaring, there'll be no vignetting in the picture. So having said all that, I'm going to attach it to one of my older camera bodies I have here from Canon, and I'm going to put this little beauty through its paces. The Canon 10 to 18 mil 4.5 to 5.6 wide angle zoom. Let's see how we go with this. Okay guys, I've got the 10 to 18 mil wide angle zoom from Canon, which they've kindly lent me to test today. I've put it on one of my older camera bodies, old Canon APS Canon body. So I'm going to take a few shots. I'll start at 18 mil, then work my way down to 10 mil. There'll be various shots just to show you what the quality of this this lens, what quality it produces. So behind me here you can see this another pergola sort of situation. There's lots of these in this park, but it's a classic item or structure for me to photograph using this little beauty here. So what I'll do, I'll take a few shots at various focal lengths, and you can see the difference between the 10 and the 18. I'm actually shooting in aperture priority, which I don't usually do, but for this demonstration I'll be doing it. So let's get started. First up, we'll go for 18 mil on this pergola here. Okay. This is at 18 mil. Frame it up, perfect exposure, excellent. That's at 18 mil. So we have a look at that shot at 18 mil. What I'll do, I'll put it through to 10 mil, and you can see the difference between the frame. So we'll switch it down to 10 mil. I'm not changing my position, I'm staying in exactly the same position where I am. I'll turn around and photograph it at 10 mil. Wow, look at that. If you look at the first shot at 18 mil, and you look at the 10 mil shot, perfect exposure again, look at that. The difference between 10 and 18 mil with this lens is insane. This is a cracker of a lens. I'm starting to enjoy this lens already. What I'll do, I'll reduce my f-stop. I want to see what it produces in a low light situation. I know how it's going to go, but I'll just take a couple of shots at that so you can just see it. I'll do 18mm. I'm currently at f8. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go 2 stops to f11 and take the same shot at 18mm. It's a little bit darker around the edges. So that's telling me that even in this ambient light we've got, this lens can perform fairly well. I'm liking it so far. What I'll do, I'll switch it from autofocus to manual focus and just see how we go. Okay, I've switched it from autofocus to manual focus. I'll do the manual focus function and I'll just let you know how we go. Same thing at 18mm. Morning. 18mm, but I'm on manual focus this time, so this will be a really good test to see how well it focuses, and then I'll switch back to autofocus to see what this motor does. So we're at 18mm, we're going to be at f8, ISO 100 at manual focus. Take a look at that shot. Fine, the manual focus on this lens is pretty good. I'll switch it back to autofocus. I'll go to 10mm and just see how quick and silent the focus is. If there is noise from this focusing motor in this lens, you'll hear it on the microphone. See how we go. Hardly any noise. This is at 10mm. How good's that? Look at that shot. I mean, seriously, for 380 bucks and an APS sensor camera body, I think Canon's on a winner here. It's light, it looks good, it's all plastic, hasn't got the metal backing it when you put it into the camera body, but just so great to use. The Canon 10 to 18mm, 4.5 to 5.6, great lens. But I have a message for Canon, and that message is, when you're asking people to pay $380 for a reasonably good lens, it's very, very good. You could probably get away with this lens. And I wasn't using any composition or rule of thirds or anything, I just wanted to demonstrate how good this lens was. But Canon, you ask people to pay $380 or so for this lens, and then you want to charge them $38 for the lens hood. Now, a bit of business acumen here. Give us the lens included in the price and you'll find that you might sell a few more of these. But overall, it's a very good lens. Oh, and there's one other thing I forgot to tell you. I don't know if you can pick it up on the camera, but between 10mm and 18mm, there's not much difference. I don't know whether you can see it. I'll look at it, see if I wait for the camera to focus. You see the movement there? Come down a bit. 10mm or 18mm to 10mm. There's that much of a gap between 10mm and 18mm when you zoom in and out. Not much to play with. But overall, what do I think of this lens? What do I rate it out of 10? I rate it 8. It's light, looks good, performs brilliantly really. Depth of field with this lens is huge because everything's in focus. Would I use it for portraiture? No, I wouldn't. I'd go to the 50mm 1.4 or 1.8 or an 85mm or even a zoom around 135. Would I use it for portraiture? No, because it's very difficult when you're using a wide angle lens to get the bokeh or the blurred background. Plus Everything else is in focus. The depth of field with this lens is enormous. It's infinity. But where does it fit? Well, creativity, groups of people, you can get close but still wide enough to get a big group in. Car photography would be great if you could get really close to the vehicle and you can blow out those corners of those vehicles. I've used this type of lens before in that type of photo. In actual fact, I'm using it tomorrow actually. I'm using this lens tomorrow. Can't wait for that. Overall, it fits the camera, any Canon body very, very well. It is designed for APS sensors, crop sensor bodies, so keep that in mind. But in the hands of a competent photographer, this lens, it's a winner. Canon's done a very good job with this lens. It's been around a while now, but I'm very grateful to be given this lens to try, to test out, and my report will be an unbiased report like I'm showing you here today. But think about that. If you want a wide angle zoom and you've got a Canon camera body, by geez, have a look at this 10 to 18, 4.5 to 5.6. As I said, it's not a fast lens, but in the hands of somebody competent, you can take some really, really great photographs with a lens just like this. So that's it for another video here at Sniper Photography. I just want to say thank you for watching it. If you've got any questions or anything you want to, any remarks you want to make about today's video on this lens, put them down in the drop box below and I'll get back to you when I can. So as I always say, be nice to yourself, family and friends, but most of all, you keep smiling and you keep shooting. Bye for now.